Okay, here we are in my destroyed garage with the oven taking up space. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. So, without further ado, this is a small block Chevy on a custom built engine test stand that is overkill, really. It is overkill. But it serves its purpose, and I am not afraid to put 1,000 horsepower on here and have at it. So got to give some props to my buddy AJ from Flaming Skull Fab, who designed and built this engine stand with my specifications in mind and exactly what I wanted to do. It'll fit a big block Chevy. It's a little tight, but it'll fit. It has outriggers. Obviously, you can see the outriggers there that lift it up off of the wheels. So it kind of reduces some of the vibration transferring into the concrete. Kind of a self-contained system. Got a battery that's being charged right now. Got a nice radiator and a shifter that really shouldn't be there. What else has been done to this engine stand? Got a 1 gallon fuel cell that has a return line and a vent. There's the overflow bottle for the radiator, and yes, the radiator is completely backwards, but it's working. It is working. Electric water pump is turned upside down to accommodate this wrong radiator. This is a Ford radiator, so I can test Fords and Chevys. I just have to turn the water pump upside down on a Chevy. So got the motor mount supports, adjustable heim joints, fully adjustable. Really nice work. Here is the instrument panel and control box. Quick car instrument cluster. Really nice pre-wired setup. Quick car switches. Really nice setup. Pre-wired. Ready to go. Most of that is my wiring. And then if you get up in there, you can see the gauges were pre-wired. With sending units and everything. Really nice. That's for the tack recall, for the quick cart tack. And I got everything crammed in here. I even got a cigarette lighter. Look at that. A cigarette lighter. Wow. That I use mainly for a power outlet. That's about all it gets used for. There's the Summit Racing CDI, multiple spark discharge ignition system, kind of like an MSD, but a little bit less expensive. Chinese stuff. I'm sure I'll get what I pay for in the end, but it seems to be a nice unit so far. Aeromotive fuel pump and fuel pressure regulator. Bypass fuel pressure regulator, so I always have fuel circulating through the system. No dead end pump. Never dead end a pump. And just a cheesy inline filter that goes out and to the carburetor. And that is a Summit Racing Pro Billet, not Pro Billet, but it is a billet distributor. It has a pretty good curve setup in it out of the box. Really like the responsiveness. Pretty snappy. even without a vacuum advance hooked up. Works really well. What else is going on in here? Those are just extra sending units and stuff for the quick car gauges that I'm not using at the moment. One would be for oil temp mechanical sending unit there, and then there is the ground wire for the switch for over temp that just turns on an idiot light. Pretty simple. Same thing here. It's the extra wire for the idiot light for I believe over temp or oil, maybe low oil pressure, but the oil pressure is hard lined in, and then there's the sending unit, so that wire just hooks to that, and then it's on whenever the ignition's on. It'll come on and tell you don't have oil pressure, which is going to be obvious. If it's not running, it should not have oil pressure. So let's talk about the motor now. It's a small block Chevy 010 block, high nickel content block. I was bored 60 over. SRP pistons, Eagle H-beam connecting rods. The rods will handle 700 horse. The crank is a scat steel crank, so it's only rated at 550 horsepower. So with the package, you know, everything combined, it's a pretty beefy setup for a small block Chevy. It's got an SFI approved harmonic balancer, power bonded. It's got an SFI approved flex plate, which I believe is out of date. I'll have to look at that sticker and check the numbers and see if it's out of date or not. But it is SFI approved, so it's a heavy duty unit too. All internal balanced, so if you did have to change the flex plate, that wouldn't be a problem. Internal balance 350 stroke, so the cubic inches comes out to I think 360, 362 or something. I think it's 360, but it's got a comp roller, hydraulic roller cam, 294 extreme energy 294 grind. It's got a Summit billet timing set with a Cloy's 2-piece timing cover. It has Pro Comp 210cc heads that have been fully ported and gasket matched to big gaskets. I think the intake gasket is a 1206 is what I ported that out to. Massive gaskets. What else is going on in this dude? I got the 210cc heads have a very tall runner, and the Holley Street Dominator manifold that I had to put on this, which I don't believe is even made anymore. You can see there I had to weld the manifold up to get it to cover the runners, to get a complete runner there. I had to weld all of the runners and gasket match and blend, and then obviously try and make it look like I didn't really do anything, but you can slightly tell there's a little tiny air bubble from porosity in the weld, but it's a sealed up unit. It very responsive. Throttle response is insane. There's the vacuum advance that is not hooked up. I just have it blocked off there. The Quick Fuel Technologies, it's a 750 750 CFM Slayer series quick fuel carburetor. It's got their patented adjustable, quick fly adjustable choke, or adjustable vacuum secondary. It's a pretty nifty setup there. What else is going on? Let's see. The comp cam's 294 cam. It's running about 560 lift, I believe, 550 lift, 540 on the exhaust. No, I'm sorry, 540 on the intake, 560 on the exhaust. I'd have to look at the specs again. It's been a few days. I've been working on this project for a couple years in my off time. It literally has been 2 years in February. Here's some of the parts. Here's the cam. This is the cam grind that went in this thing. A 443 grind, which is a pretty popular grind. I've seen it a lot in the drag racing. Come on, focus on there. Focus. There we go. There we got 540, 560 lift with 1.5 rockers, and it does have 1.5 rockers. Everything just seems to clear so much better with a 1.5 rocker. You don't have to do any modifications. No clearancing or grinding on the intake runner, which is pretty sketchy sometimes. But 294 300 advertised. It's 242 248 540 560 lift. Very smooth, but radical idle, and you'll hear that very shortly. What else should I go over? Oh, it's got a Kevco 6-quart oil pan, so with the system topped off and a good filter, a good Wix Racing filter, Napa Wix. It holds about 7 quarts altogether. Joe Gibbs racing oil, obviously, but it is a hydraulic roller cam, so you could run full synthetic, you could run conventional, or you could run racing oil. Doesn't really matter. It's a very versatile engine. 3,000s clearance on the rods and mains, so you need thick oil. What else has been done? It's got crane roller rockers. No, they are Trick Flow. Sorry, Trick Flow full roller, extruded aluminum full roller rockers. Howard's Cam hydraulic roller lifters, maximum effort hydraulic roller lifters, about a $480, $460 set of lifters. They take a quarter turn of adjustment, not a half a turn, not 1.5 turns, quarter turn, 0 lash or a quarter turn. If you want it noisy, go 0 lash. If you want nice quiet valve train, stick with the quarter turn. She'll be nice and quiet. But I have to say that the carburetor out of the box has been flawless. It started on the second crank. I've got about 2 hours of runtime in it. I've finally got the choke adjusted. I've got about 2 hours of runtime in it, and I just made a small adjustment with the choke the other day, and it seemed to respond very well. Cold startup is beautiful. Still got some wiring to obviously dial in, but it's all functional. We have I believe that's an 18-inch fan on a 24-inch radiator. Sounds about right. I believe it is a 3,000 CFM fan, maybe 2,700, but it was the best fan I could get that would fit on the radiator and fit on my engine stand. You can see it's a pretty close fit. If I was running a big block, I'd probably end up running a belt drive water pump and not an electric one. But some modifications could be made. I could lose a little bit of space here and not run a clutch. If I had a flywheel, I could still get the flywheel on